Hello and welcome to How Do You Like Your Coffee? I'm your host, Chris. I'm going to be sitting a little bit closer to my computer because today I'm going to be talking about the online experience. I'm not going to show you too much because for my research for doing this video, I found that there's so many different student portals depending on the school that you will be going to. So before I do that though, there's other ways to learn that you may want to look into. Your school might actually have within their program. I know that the school I go to offer residencies, internships, online study groups, and guided independent learning, which is it's not exactly online. It is more of a closer one-to-one with your instructor. You're working on one-to-one on them to develop within the course that you're taking. You're developing a your own type of learning experience out of the course in hand. There's also if the online school that you're going to has a local office, sometimes you can learn off, in person as well. There's also cross registration, which means you're going to two colleges at once. That could even be in classroom traditional learning and online as well. I know a few students who have done it and they've done pretty well. Another thing I wanted to talk about is books. I was going to cover this in another one, but I didn't want to drag the video on too long. So now some colleges, some online studies that you will run into, they will include the books in the tuition. These are ebooks from a special electronic source that runs these ebooks. Also, some online colleges have traditional books. I know mine are ordered through my college bookstore, or I can order them online anywhere I want, like Amazon, or I know of a few other book sites. And actually, I'm going to cover some book sites that I've used in the past, and I will leave links to that in my description as I do that video later on. There's also, you can use, like I said, ebooks, but like from Kindle and things like that. So getting inside the student portal, there's many things you're going to see, and you'll see me looking off to the side like that because I'm looking at my computer to make sure I give you a nice, roughly what I've noticed in at least the two schools that I've gone to, what you will see inside the portal once you sign in. The first thing when you sign in, your advisor's probably going to tell you to do this, is get to know it, get a feel for it. What they'll do is they'll guide you to a student orientation. Now, these orientations are usually ran over videos. Sometimes, like the one school I went to, the advisor was on the phone with me and took me step by step through certain parts of the process, which is nice to do. And there's probably plenty of schools out there that do that. You will, when you get inside the student portal, you're going to find things like your students' accounts, your degree plans, things like your academic sources, links to your library, links to your scheduling, calendars. There's so much on here. Link to the bookstore. It depends on, like I said, it depends on your online experience. There's also, like with my school, we have learning contracts, and I have links to that. I have links to my grades, lesson plans. You have, now when you get into the actual virtual classroom, that's when you go into your online courses themselves. On your courses, you can usually, they're usually ran by modules, and each module is like, runs about a week, 2 weeks, maybe, you know, depending on the course, the instructor, the school. Inside each module is each thing that you are expected to do. This is discussions, papers, quizzes, things like that, and reading assignments. And don't forget the reading assignments. That's usually the first thing you do, is they say read chapters 1 and 2, then post your discussion, post it to other students by the end of this week. Then you might have a paper due by the end, and they pretty much have it scheduled out so that you know when your work is due. And like I said, online learning is not a by pace, at your own pace thing. It is scheduled. So using your own self-discipline, you have to put this into your scheduling to get it done. You don't usually have somebody say, oh, you have to get this done, or reminders. You have to remember to do it on your own. All right, now another thing to get to know is you also have, so that there's a little bit less worry, is tutors and academic support like math and writing. Libraries, your student portal has a connection to your school library, which is pretty good, because when you do research papers and things like that, that's where you might want to go to first to do this research. You also have some links to sources, outside sources, as well as some, I know mine has links to places where you can talk one-on-one with a counselor over the phone. This is 24/7 support line. There's also what they call student connection. I guess that's something. I've never used it. I never used the student connection in all the 4 years I've been with the school. But there's other things too. But probably your biggest thing in the links on these is hooking up with your policies, hooking up with requirements, hooking up with commencements and graduation, how that works. Because even though you're taking a 4-year or a 6-year, 2-year, it's good to look ahead and see what you need. It's good to know where you stand and what you have to do to get to that goal line of graduating. They also have quick guides. You can have these the whole length of the time. Those videos are always there for you. I mean, you can be with the school for 3-4 years and it's still there for you to look back on. One thing to watch out for, though, is I noticed that with both schools I've been with, they have changed up their portals. And sometimes your portal will be down when they're doing upgrades and stuff. This is usually, I know that with the 2 schools I've been with, they try to do it on Sunday nights between like 3 in the morning and 7 o'clock in the morning. But it all depends, like I said, on the school that you're going to. The next video, I am hoping to begin like where you start with the learning process. Getting to know a little bit about how to do, some research, maybe some pointing out to where, some good research techniques. I'm also wanting to do a video that will help with writing assignments, because writing assignments are pretty tough and they can feel a little bit overwhelming, especially for those like myself who not the greatest of writers. So it's good to know some certain rules involved with that, because you do, like here on YouTube, you have copyright policies to worry about. You also have what they call plagiarism to worry about with your schoolwork, and believe me, schools do check. So we're going to look further into that, and like I said, I also want to leave some other ways to get some books besides your school's bookstore, because believe me, the school bookstore can be a lot more money than you have to pay, even if you're buying used from another site. But I know of a few sites that I have used, and they worked out very well. And there's also something else to know before we get into that, and I'll cover it more when I get into buying your books. But sometimes the books that you're getting, you're not going to find the edition that your professors are asking for. That is a good time to say, hey, I can find this edition of the book. Is it okay to use it? Because it is sometimes, a lot of the times, it's accepted, because editions of the books is usually, okay, say it's the 9th edition. You need the 9th edition, can only find the 8th edition. Well, the 9th edition may just have some added chapters, or an added foreword, or added introduction by somebody. Sometimes it's accepted because there's not a whole lot of difference. It's got pretty much the same content, but it's added. So we'll look into those things later on. In the meantime, please comment down below anything that you might want to share, any questions you might have. Maybe you have some ideas for upcoming videos, even if it's not to do with the series. Maybe you have some ideas for other series you'd like to see. And like I said, until then, click the click the subscribe button and that bell icon, so you know next time I upload. And keep that coffee hot, those pinkies up. I will be seeing you.